I've known of you for quite some time. I've always felt like a little bit of a kindred spirit with you. Always felt like you had this fast twitch mind. And
it's an interesting. It's never been described as such.
And I've watched.
Really cool.
I watched the special, AKA, I should say, the doc two-parter, AKA Charlie Sheen on Netflix. It is really compelling.
Thank you.
And it is well made. Like, as a guy who's made quite a few docs.
Sure.
Some docs are a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
This is not it. This is interesting, lots of creativity, lots of archival, like really well put together.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm not credited as a producer on it, right? But I was heavily involved in all the prep work. The director Andrew Renzi and myself, we spent, I think, over a year preparing for it. And so much of that was archival.
Yeah, it is put together. So a lot of docs are put together in a kind of pedestrian way, just sort of A, B, C, D, what happened, let's go chronologically, show footage, so on and so forth.
Right.
Now they're becoming like a little bit of an art form. Like they're using graphics and they're just taking creative leaps and doing things or makes you think for a second.
Sure.
And this is done from the standpoint of like a filmmaker, not a documentarian.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he married those two worlds, I think, brilliantly.
Yeah, and it was really an interesting choice because they put Charlie in this sort of very sterile environment of a booth at a coffee house, a coffee shop, diner, right. And so you would go from this very stripped down, sort of unplugged acoustic cup of coffee sitting in a booth, no bells or whistles, to the really artistic, interesting layered stuff, and then back to the unplugged acoustic.
Yeah, no, I think the contrast and the way it was juxtaposed was, I think it was almost like it created those elements as their own character.
Yeah, it's compelling. It moves, and I would say for those of you, and I will watch any doc just because I'm interested in learning things. But there are a lot of people, a lot of dumber people who go, I'm only going to watch a doc that entertains me.
Right.
Now, being informed is a byproduct for them. For me, it's the product.
Sure.
And then the entertainment is a plus.
Got it. Yeah.
So I'll watch any doc, but I'll take the gravy of the entertainment. But this is a doc that if you have a girlfriend or a roommate who does not dig docs, they can watch this like a film.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that was his approach. Andrew's, because I'd seen a couple that he had done. He did Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Did you see that one? Mm-hmm. And I thought it was terrific. He did an episode with Jake Paul for Untold. Mm-hmm. I think it was Untold. Anyway, but it was. I just got to see enough of his filmic prowess to feel like I was in really good hands. But then after that, we had to develop a trust. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of thing that either happens or it doesn't. And if it didn't happen, I don't think we could have gotten into a lot of the stuff that we did,
Well, it's really entertaining. It's two parts.
Thank you.
It moves. I watched it once right when it came out because I love it. I watched a John Candy doc too. It's like, watch the docs. They're good.
Right.
You get a bouillon cube, a guy's life in a bouillon cube, and you get all the nutrients in 90 minutes. In this case, 2 segments.
Right.
2 episodes, 90 minutes. But each or somewhere thereabouts. Also, the Book of Sheen is available now as well. But as I was watching you in this doc and kind of studying it, I was thinking about myself a little bit, and then I was realizing that a lot of people get into substance, or let's just say alcohol. They drink and then they get kind of sloppy and then they pass out and then they, they get drunk and they pass out. They knock something over. They go, where is he? He's in the hall.
Right.
He's sleeping in the tub.
Right.
And then there's a kind of a brain that can almost overcome the inebriation. Like you drink as much as everyone else, but you can maintain. Like it takes a lot to really get you to that place.
You did, yeah.
And if you have a really like strong brain, you can like I was with Mark Garagos, the attorney, once, and several years ago when we were in Florida and we're doing some shows or something.
Okay.
And somebody kept sending up shots of Don Julio to the stage, you know. And Mark and I were just doing the shots. And Mark, I would call him a bit of a heavyweight, like he can drink.
Right.
At some point was in the green room, yakking into the toilet, passed out on the green room sofa, right?
Damn.
And we were just up there shot for shot. And so Mark goes, geez, I saw him the next day. He's like, God, I don't even know where it was. I don't know how I got home or whatever. Well, he goes, what happened to you? And I go, I did a 90-minute stand-up show. And he goes, what? I couldn't see straight. I go, I had to do a show, you know? And he goes, how the hell did you do a show? I couldn't walk. Right. And I was like, I drank a cup of coffee. I drank a few glasses of water.
Right.
I ate a bagel.
Right.
I waited 45 minutes, and then I did the show.
Sure.
And he's like, how'd you do it? I was like, well, I have to do the show.
Right.
So and then I realized my brain can sort of transcend it.
Sure.
A little. Everyone gets affected.
Right.
But there are brains that can kind of, and then we know women have, like my mom, glass of champagne. Oh, somebody needs to drive me home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you had a brain that could take it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was more of a it always felt more like fuel than it did like a sedative.
Right.
Yeah. And it would just activate things in a way that just created just desires and just more energy for stuff, you know. But it's interesting because you mentioned, because Garagos is like, well, how did you do that? What? But you did it because you knew that you had to, and you knew that was on your plate. That was part of your schedule. You'd committed to it, right?
Yes, I committed to it.
Yeah, so it was non-negotiable.
No, but also when we were doing our show and people were handing us shots at Don Julio, I didn't turn down any of them saying I had a late show, I had to work on it.
Course,
I said, no, we'll do this, and then I'll compartmentalize this somehow, and we'll do the late show.
Right. You had a plan that you stuck to.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's not a possibility that I would go cancel the late show.
Exactly.
I'm too fried.
Exactly.
I can't do it. I'm tired.
I totally get that.
Right.
I totally get that. Yeah.
So it's the show must go on.
The show must go on.
But I must get fucked up earlier.
Right.
So now we got to weigh. I must get fucked up earlier with the show must go on.
Right. Yeah. And then it's also. Did people then talk to you afterwards about anything that happened with that show? Was there any?
No, it was just a regular show.
And they were just like, "Hey, great job tonight."
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't get up there and throw up and take a piss on someone in the first row.
Right.
Yeah, I just went and got my shit together and did the show. I mean, if you examine the tape, you might detect something. But I did the show. It was a good show.
I'm sure,
and it was fine.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to Mark the next day, and he said, "God damn," because he was literally. I want to do a coffee table book just says guys eating when they're drunk.
That's pretty good.
Because I watched him pick apart. He got something with pretzel bread, and he was eating the bread skin, the pretzel-y part.
He wanted the salt.
Yeah. Well, he did a low-carb commitment, but then he got drunk, and you get drunk. And all the plans right out the window. So you have a mind that probably moves a little faster than is good for you. Like
Perhaps,
in a way you go, oh, well, so it's good you can do a late show and not throw up and fall asleep in the green room. And it's like, yeah, but it also means it takes a lot of booze to feel the way Mark felt when he was in the bathroom.
Yeah, of course.
And so when you're talking about banging 7-ounce rocks or gram rocks, sorry.
Ounce would have been.
Yeah, that would have been a lot.
Yeah.
7 gram rocks, you meant it.
I did.
And whereas everyone else, couple of rails, good for the night, whatever. But that didn't work for you.
It didn't. No. And it's not just about building tolerance. I think it was more about just kind of knowing, the levels that I would need to continue, whatever whatever the moment was offering or I was demanding from it,
But do you have Dr. Drew said I have hypervigilance.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have hypervigilance.
I don't know, but it's interesting that you mention him because he was one of the guys. He was one of the medical voices in the mix. Trying to assess what was going on with me during the meltdown, during the whole thing with the 2.5 and when that all went sideways. And he zeroed in on bipolar, I remember I got mad at him. I've never met the man.
Everyone gets mad at Drew.
Right, at some point.
Poor Drew.
At some point.
Hey, well, he's like a tow truck driver. Like, he didn't repossess your car. He's just showing up.
Right, exactly.
And then you start screaming at him.
Pretty much,
But he just got dispatched because you didn't make your payments.
Right. But I'm not saying he was wrong, but I felt just diagnosed from afar, I just feel like he and I at some point, we're still on a collision course, not a bad one,
right?
Just to finally meet and have a chat.
He's a good dude.
I can tell.
He's a very good dude.
I use some of his products from the wellness company.
He's great.
Yeah,
and you two would get along famously.
Do you fork over the $1.25 for his toothpaste?
No, but he's giving me some stuff.
Okay, because he's charging $125 for toothpaste.
Really?
I mean, it's really good, and my gums have never felt better. But that's a little pricey for toothpaste, isn't it?
I'll talk to him.
Okay.
I'll probably be able to get you a tube for $85.
All right. Okay.
And I got to wet my beak, obviously, but it's still going to save you money.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think he wanted me on his show.
Listen, all I can tell you is most people in show business and certainly in comedy learn to despise their partners at a certain point. They all famously have some sort of Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin fallout. The comedy duo and the showbiz duo rarely survives, and especially the comedy duos. Those always fall apart. They have acrimony, they don't talk, and everything else. I talk to Dr. Drew on a daily basis.
Okay.
And I talk to Jimmy Kimmel quite often. My proudest accomplishment is being very good friends with all my partners in show business.
Wow.
Which is tough, and maybe more than you can say for Cryer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it said a lot that John participated in.
I thought he was pretty magnanimous. Pretty fair.
Yeah,
he seemed pretty even-handed for a guy who's probably sitting on some rage.
But he did. But when he says, I'm not here to celebrate him. I'm not here to tear him down.
Right.
But then he's like, I was a little, reluctant to be a part of this because, Charlie's pattern is to, do cool shit and then flame out. And he was thinking that he's going to be in this doc and it's never going to make it onto television,
Well, I think for him, he was like a victim. It was like a rape victim whose rapist was locked up for 100 years, but still scared at night. You know what I mean? And you go, he'll never get to you again. He's not going to be able to. It's like, yes, but we have this history.
Yeah.
And I'm still fearful. Yes, I noticed he saying that at the onset of the doc. Not to compare you to a rapist, but
I appreciate that. Thank you. No, but it, yeah, it's
so hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance.
Do you how do you sleep? Like, could someone walk if minus any substance?
Right.
If someone walked in your room at 4 a.m. and went, Charlie, would you answer? Would you roll over? Would you get up? Like, are you a light sleeper?
Pretty light sleeper.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
Yeah, but I think I sleep the heaviest or the deepest. Like the last half hour of sleep. Isn't that when they say like that's when you get all of the good sleep?
And you notice things all the time, like sort of lights and movement and stuff like that, like
You
peripheral.
Mean just walking around, just in life.
I just mean like there are like if you're just walking down the street and some bush moves or something off, but peripherally, like off the side. Do you go like hup? Like does it?
I clock it. Yeah, it doesn't always. It's not always jarring.
You use like an eye shade when you sleep, and do you do like white sound or any?
No, I don't put anything over. But I do this app that I saw an ad for called Better Sleep. And I've always poo-pooed that stuff. I've never believed in any of that. And I was like, all right, fine, it's $30, $20, whatever it is. I'll give it a shot. And you can build your custom sound package, and that turns out that sounds have colors.
It's like white noise, basically.
But there's also brown noise and green noise and purple noise and all
this. So you sleep with that.
Well, I just put this thing together, just haphazard, and hit play, and was out like a light. The first time I tried it, I don't work for this company. I don't. I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying that, So that really helped.
So in the doc, I got so much to get into. It gets right out of the gate, like an action movie getting out of the gate with a car chase scene or something with the whole. Go ahead and just vape away.
Nicotine is not.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't smoke pot.
So
for the record.
the flying the Air France jetliner. Right at the beginning. I mean, it just grabs you and pulls you in right at the beginning because it's this great recreation. It's you and your fiance.
Yeah.
You're flying to Europe or back from Europe.
Actually, my wife by that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
wife by
we're
that
coming
point.
back from the honeymoon. Yeah.
Right.
Donna.
And back in the day when there were rules, but not too many rules for celebrities, and people sort of trusted people, and you were getting loaded on the plane.
Sure.
And you get up to the galley there, and the navigator comes out of the cockpit, recognizes you.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're in the cockpit.
Says the captain wants to meet you.
Right.
And then they want to take photos.
Right.
And then I'm like, let me put your jacket on so it looks cooler,
Right.
And
the pilot's jacket.
Yeah. Then he hands me his pilot's cap.
Right.
And then he's standing, and I see his empty seat, and I'm like, do you mind? And he's like,
the pilot's seat.
Yeah, but of course, Mr. Sheen. And I sit down, and then I'm kind of, we're all just, the first officer, pilot's behind me standing. I'm in his seat. I'm in the pilot's seat. And I just casually say, is George flying the plane? I knew enough about it to know that's the international thing for autopilot. And
how many drinks would you say you've had?
At that point in the flight?
Yeah.
8.
Okay.
Like 8 shots, but over like 3 hours.
Yeah, listen.
So they're kind of spaced out a little
bit.
You're
talking to me. You're not talking to Mark Karagos. Like 8 shots,
right.
You can do a show. You can fly a plane.
Right. So, but what was such a trip is when I asked if George was flying the plane, he just reaches up and flips a switch and says, not anymore.
So you got the yoke.
And yeah. And at first, I didn't do anything with it. I was just hands on it, And then I looked to both of them, and I was just kind of like gave a shrug, like, will this next thing be okay? And they gave me a thumbs up,
Right.
We were, and the adjustments were so minute. They was microscopic.
But you're flying the plane
just for like a minute.
Right.
It's like 68 seconds. But then what was a trip is when I pulled back on it and I could feel us doing
rising.
Yeah, and it was, but then they were seeing that this, could go other places.
Right.
And he just reaches up and just flick.
Puts autopilot
George
back
on. Yeah.
Right.
And then you could feel this thing just settle back into what it knew it was supposed to be doing,
Yeah, it's right at the top of episode 1,
Right.
and it really just kind of pulls you in.
I think so.
And it's
yeah.
very, it's a great illustration of substance mixed with a kind of lifestyle, mixed with a kind of mixed with a kind of a privilege, that you get to fly a plane.
Sure.
Mixed with like a little bit of a bygone era, even though it's not that long ago. But this is kind of stuff you got to do. There was a Nick Cage incident on the plane that I thought was pretty compelling as well.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
That was nuts. And you know what's interesting is in the doc where you see Nick telling the story on Letterman, right?
Yes.
And and that was the first time I'd ever seen Nick telling the story on Letterman was in the doc.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know that he'd ever told it.
Uh-huh.
And so when Renz puts us side by side with that quote, this is your captain, I'm losing,
Right.
I'm not feeling well, I'm losing control of the aircraft, right? It's identical as though we planned it.
Right.
And we didn't.
Right. So it's true.
Yes, our stories match verbatim.
Well, you guys were flying to San Francisco?
We were, yeah. It was Frisco or Vegas? It was Frisco. Yeah,
I think
you're
it was
right.
Frisco,
yeah,
according to the doc. And now I don't know what you guys were doing in Frisco.
We were going up there. We wanted to watch Apocalypse in Francis Coppola, his uncle, one of his houses or his main house, because he had a screening room with a great sound setup.
Because he's descendant of, related to.
Exactly, yeah.
Coppola.
Which is his real name.
Well, yeah, you guys sort of have a weird switcheroo, sort of.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the last name.
Yeah. And so that was the plan. Mm-hmm. And somehow on the way there, it turned into that thing. But it wasn't that thing before the.
So just for people who haven't seen it,
okay,
he liked to party.
Yeah, I mean, not like me.
Right.
But when the two of us came together the first time, it's almost like we were strangely like looking for each other or looking for the experience that the other could provide.
Yeah, and also, I mean, to be fair to him, I mean, I know it's a semantics thing, but he liked to party and you like to poison. Like, there's a thing where, like, people want to party, but what you weren't doing is partying. You went beyond the party.
Oh yeah,
I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was trying to get to a place and stay there.
Right. He wanted to party,
but his partying was always just booze.
Uh-huh.
So he never did drugs.
Right.
Until the two of us wound up in the same boat one night,
So he went and had drinks and then went and grabbed the blower, the intercom.
Yes.
On the flight.
Is that slang for it? Is it a blower? I
Yeah.
love that. I like that. But it had already been established, like Eddie B and Phil and Carrie, we'd already done a silly little act for the benefit of the passengers.
Oh.
So we were, because they still had that curtain separating.
Right.
So we'd pull the curtain back with the mic
Right.
and say something really goofy and get a couple laughs.
Right,
And the people were into it, right?
Sort of like early Southwest when they do a little shtick up there.
Exactly. And so, and everybody thought it was harmless. And yeah, these guys are hammered, but they're it's completely
right.
Everything's under control.
Right.
And then the blower winds up within Cage's grip.
Right.
And he just somehow, I don't know why, he saw the tone that we had set.
Right.
But chose to take it where he did.
Which is saying he was the captain.
Impersonating the captain, that he's not feeling well and he's losing control of the airplane. And it was right out of the movies. You hear people start screaming. Like there's always that high-pitched female scream in the movies, right? That happened.
Right.
So, and we were in a panic, and he didn't know the amount of cocaine I had on me.
Yes, 1.3 grams, maybe.
No, it was like two ounces.
Oh, ounces.
Yeah,
I get my grams and my ounces.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
2 ounces is a lot.
Yeah, in a fat Ziploc.
How many grams are in an ounce?
16, 14.
I think
No, 28. There's 28 grams in an ounce.
We'll look it up. But so if you're talking about 48 grams of, 28.
28, okay.
So you're talking about almost 28.3 and change, but you're talking about 50 grams of cocaine?
Pretty much about that, yeah.
That's a lot of cocaine.
Well, I didn't know how long we were going to be up there. I didn't know how many times we were going to watch Apocalypse. Come on.
Right.
So
that's taped to your ankle.
No, the inside of my
inner thigh.
Inner thigh, yeah.
Because, by the way, that's enough to get intent to distribute. Like
Perhaps.
That's enough to get in real trouble.
Perhaps, yeah.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if that's a civilian, that's enough. If you can lawyer up, you can get Mark Garagos to sober up, come out of the bathroom. You'll probably be okay.
That would suck if that was the day I needed him. But wouldn't they just kind of mash up all of those charges together? There'd be FAA stuff, there'd be federal violations, there'd be
some RICO and some interstate commerce. There'd be all of it.
All of it.
So the cops, the feds, the marshals are waiting for you when you get off the plane.
They are.
Because somebody radioed ahead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the steward, are they called stewards still?
I don't know what we call them.
The male flight attendant. And exactly as Nick tells it on Letterman, like walks right up to him, like this purposeful walk, and stops right in front of him and points him right in the face and says, "Not cool, mister. Not cool."
Yeah.
And so and that was about 10 minutes before landing.
Right.
So we kind of knew that there might be, we might have company.
Right.
You know.
And the door of the plane opens. There's uniform guys there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
well, there's guys in suits and uniforms. And we're like, huh.
Right. Now, Nick's the one who is on the blower, as we like to call it. You had picked it up, but done a more innocent use of the intercom.
Yeah, I was.
So you're not necessarily in his boat, but you are in his crew.
Right, but it would be like the what do they call it? Felony murder when the wheelman.
Yeah, you're the wheelman.
You shoot the bank guard, and then you're just as So but I was wearing a Dick Tracy hat that I bought at the airport before I was having a bad hair day, and I was like, I'll just hide under this thing. And it was like $12. It was that yellow, really cheap material. And so my act to the cabin was speaking into the Dick Tracy communicator. You know? I don't know. That doesn't come close to answering your question. So I still had a measure of goodwill with the passengers.
Right.
Yeah, because nobody knew at that point I was a drug mule.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you got this stuff taped to your inner thigh.
Right.
You're detained.
We are detained.
And now you're moments away from a situation where it's like you get pulled over and you're worried about a DUI, but you got a body in the trunk.
Exactly.
And this could get a lot worse.
Could get a lot worse. Yeah.
Right.
It was that thing again where one of them was two guys were Cage fans, a couple guys were Sheen fans, and we could feel it start to turn.
Yeah.
The worm in our favor.
Yeah.
And that's when the first wave of relief kind of, okay, this is not going to be a life-changing evening. At least not at their hands.
Yeah. They'll ask you a question. Like, I know I've been pulled over a few times, and you go, oh shit, I'm getting a ticket, and then the guy will come up and I'll go, get any new cars? And I'm like, okay, we're good. All right, we're good. Yeah, they'll ask some little insider something, and you'll go, okay, now we'll be cool.
Yeah.
From this point on.
I had a Porsche in 1987. And I used to live at County Line. You know where that is? Up near Neptune's Nest, right?
Yeah.
And there was one night I hadn't had a drink, and there was nobody on the road. It was about 3 a.m., It was a hardtop 911S, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful car, and I wanted to see what the damn thing could do. And stupidly, I got it up to about 161. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, I went for it, and the broken yellow line turned solid.
Yeah.
And that's when I needed like 5 miles to slow down.
Right.
Because I just started, I didn't want to jam on the brakes, but the road was so smooth and just, it was perfect moon. And I had passed a cop, like, probably between, 110 and 130. So he takes a long time to get to me.
Right.
And he pulls me over, and Platoon had come out. But I didn't have the kind of recognition yet that made its way into,
zeitgeist.
Yeah, or getting into new cars, like those moments.
Right.
And he says, what's going on? And I didn't have a cover story. And I said, just got this empty road, nothing to drink. I just really wanted to see if what the car could do. And the guy takes a beat and he says, well, you may want to slow down before you ruin a perfectly good piece of machinery.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me.
Right.
It was about don't destroy this car.
A lot of cops are car guys, which is
It
good.
was a trip, and he let me go. But that's a trip to jail. Those speeds,
Right.
isn't it? Usually?
Yeah. It's exhibition speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something like more than 20 miles an hour over the posted, whatever they could take you in.
That's where it starts.
Theoretically, or reckless driving or
yikes.
something. So, partying, you're now Emilio and your dad, Martin, were not in the film. It was nice the way you sort of covered it and spoke about it.
Sure.
Your dad comes across as a hero, basically, of the doc.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, what that guy did in all hours of the morning, sort of.
I know. And there's that line, I think I say, I can't imagine being my dad.
Yeah, well, because every night you woke up, at 3:30 in the morning to take a piss, you'd have to pause and go, I wonder where my son is right now. I wonder who he's with. I wonder what he's imbibing. I wonder what he's doing. I wonder if he's driving. I wonder if he's flatlining.
Right.
Like you'd have to have that thought.
Right. Well, the one thing they did know is that I was a limo guy, like from the jump. I was riding in them, before they were fashionable, and stayed in them, long after they were considered cool.
Right. So the DUI part was probably out.
Never got one, and just made that decision like at 18.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the notion that you don't have a DUI is insane.
It's pretty
because
crazy,
if they
right?
made a Mount Rushmore of celebrities who should have DUIs.
I'm in there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in there. Yeah.
You're up there.
Where in the lineup though? Am I number 2? Am I number 3? You think? If we're going left to right.
I'd have to figure it out, and then I'd have to also figure out who doesn't have a DUI in that group.
Okay.
Although I don't know what the rules are, but
I don't either.
the fact that you don't have a DUI,
It's bananas.
and there's dudes I work construction with who have 2 DUIs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
They haven't done 1/10 your parting, but they couldn't afford a limo.
Yeah,
That was their thing.
But there was always, I just knew there was always and the alternative option, that,
Right.
And sometimes we'd be on I'd be on a 2 or 3 day run, and you remember this place called Carlos and Pepe's in Malibu?
Yeah.
Or was it Carlos and Charlie's?
Well, there was a Carlos and Pepe's like on Sunset, and then
Okay.
there's a Carlos and Charlie's. I
In-
can't remember which one's on Sunset, which one's on Malibu.
I think that Carlos and Charlie's, right? Was that Malibu?
I didn't.
We're gonna get letters.
Unfortunately,
We're
I
gonna
didn't,
get letters.
I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to hang that much in
But
Malibu.
so I would, have a fun night there and leave my car and take a cab or like the one taxi in Malibu. Do you
Right.
remember? And then the party would find its way all around Malibu. And during the day, we would drive, go into someone else's house, and I could just drive past and just see that, my car was still there.
Right.
And I was like, all right, good. Okay, keep going.
Rougiette. Now, I know nobody wants to talk about this. I'm talking about ED, but trust me, you're not the only guy blocked in the bedroom. We've all heard the excuses. It's just stress, long day at work. Happens to everyone sometimes, right? Am I right? Look, it's more common than you think. 30 million men deal with it. That's what a Dodger Stadium full of guys and the parking lot as well. You're not special. You're just a man who might need a little backup. That's where Rougiette comes in. They've got fast-acting ED treatments prescribed by real doctors, delivered right to your door. No more awkward pharmacy runs. No more pretending everything's fine. Stop making excuses and start making moves with Rougiette. Am I right, Dawson?
Visit rugiet.com/Adam to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/Adam. Use our code to support the show. And so Rougiette knows that we sent you.
The in the doc, and I have a weird connection to Heidi Fleiss.
Oh.
Which is her dad is a pediatrician.
Right, Dr. Fleiss, yeah.
And he was my pediatrician when I was real young.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow, how old's her dad? Like 105?
Heidi Fleiss's dad, and I'm looking at you, Andrew, or Dawson, must have expired.
Has to have passed, yeah.
I would argue, but he was Dr. Fleiss, who's Heidi Fleiss's dad. It makes the whole thing a little more surreal that her dad was a kind of well-known pediatrician.
Right.
For some reason, it adds an extra. If her dad was a truck driver or something, it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But he was not only that, but he was a kind of early 70s, late 60s kind of hippie pediatrician, kind of free to be you and me. Like probably wouldn't have been, he would have been much more RFK Jr. than
Right.
Biden in terms of he was like more down. He probably wouldn't have liked all the vaccinations. He was a little more holistic or something.
I gotcha.
When did he, so does it say RIP 2014, I guess is when he passed away. But he was
1933, damn.
he was kind of hippy dippy pediatrician that the sort of hippy dippies like out here.
Got it.
But the Heidi Fleiss thing.
But do you have memories of like being in his office as a child?
Yeah, I remember, Dr. Fleiss is, to see Dr. Fleiss.
And he had a Beverly Hills office or Santa Monica? Or
Beverly Hills probably would have been too hoity-toity for him. He was, like a little more salt of the earth, hippie kind of pediatrician. I don't remember. Probably Silver Lake. He was probably more of a Silver Lake dude. And my mom was like more of a hippie and probably thought more about, a guy who thought a little more in those terms than the, get everyone vaccinated kind of vibe. So the Heidi Fleiss thing is kind of weird. Now she is still harboring a little animosity.
A little bit. And I was hoping to have a moment with her at the premiere here in LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But somehow that night, our paths didn't intersect.
And so she attended.
She was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you apprehensive about running into her?
No, I was looking forward to it.
But it seems uncomfortable.
For sure. But I figured it was if that was the night to get that moment out of the way, then I was going to lean into it.
Was that sort of from a perspective of a step in a 12-step program?
No, just closing a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess is another definition of that. No, I just wanted to give her a hug and just say, hey, and I do talk about it in the book. If I had that part to do over again, I would have just taken my lumps.
Right.
But the stuff they were threatening was pretty serious.
Yeah, and it was over traveler's checks.
No, the stuff, but they.
Well, yeah,
they
no,
said
there were.
If I didn't roll, I was facing all this other shit.
And in a weird way, it was sort of a P. Diddy situation in the sense that they were like, well, yeah, but the porn star lived in Henderson and you flew him out to Beverly Hills and now we got a Mann Act going on. And you're like, is that really a thing? Like going to Nevada, coming back from Nevada?
No.
But it's like, but they'll hang that over your head,
sure.
and they'll go, and that comes with mandatory, 20 years or whatever it is.
Right.
So for you, it was you paying for a prostitute wasn't a big deal, but you paying for your buddies to get prostitutes was a big deal.
Right. Which they had no proof of.
Right.
I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Well, it would almost have to happen.
Right. Right. I mean, if 3 girls show up, chances are good. Later on, maybe not, but chances good that they're not all for me,
Right.
But they told me they did have the proof, and I was like, "Show it to me."
Right.
And they said, "We'll get back to you." So
Right.
there was a lot going on. But what Heidi didn't talk about in the doc was the stuff that were the charges that they actually enforced, the ones that sent her up the river. And the whole thing was tax evasion.
Right.
Because the other stuff would have just been misdemeanors, right?
Right. So the whole idea was the business was a cash business, and obviously she wasn't reporting this. And then at some point, a traveler's check got passed, and that's got a name on it.
Right.
Cash doesn't have a name on it, but your rationale, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean that in a sort of negative way, but what you're saying is she did time because she did not pay her taxes, not because she was a madam per se.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's because those are the facts, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that whole thing being on the rocks, the club above the Roxy, and running into the girl had how big a part had prostitution played in your life before that? And I know you lost your virginity to a prostitute.
I did, yeah.
In Vegas.
In Vegas,
right?
at 15, yeah.
How did that work?
In Vegas?
Yeah, I know that prostitutes in Vegas, but I know you used your dad's credit card, right?
Yeah.
But walk us through that. Like, where was he?
He was asleep in the next room, and we had a connecting rooms. Right?
Was he working out there?
I don't know. I think he was attending a benefit or a charity or something. He wasn't just going there to gamble,
Right.
And then my cousin Joey from Ohio was in town, and he got invited on the trip, and then he went to bed early, and Joey and I it was like, coming up on 1 a.m., and we just started going through the yellow pages. And then we realized, all right, because I said, have you done this yet? And he was like, no. You? And I'm like, no.
He was your age?
Yeah, just about, maybe
Right.
a couple months older. And so we didn't have any money.
Right.
And it's so sneaky. I said to Joey, well, let me see if I can get the dad's wallet. I think we can. I think tonight this could be the night. Mm-hmm. And I got to his wallet and found.
You went into his room?
Yeah, I went in there quietly and found it in his back pocket and pulled out a credit card, a MasterCard,
Uh-huh.
And then we called one of these places. We're kind of like whispering on the phone, right? And gave him, said, yes, we have a credit card. I don't know that I had to give his name over the phone.
Uh-huh.
Again, this would have been, what, 1980?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then we opened the door to this gorgeous redhead named Candy.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like Joey and I had never been in the presence of.
So you got one girl?
One girl, yeah.
Uh-huh. And your dad's asleep in the next room?
Right.
And do you remember how much the charge was?
It was $250.
$250.
Yeah.
That's pretty sizable in 1980 dollars.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
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 Now, what is it when the credit card statement comes back? Does it just say like entertainment on it, or what is it?
Well, it didn't have anything on it, but it did have the city.
Right. Oh,
and
so your dad
and the time.
1:45
exactly.
a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm watching TV in the
Well,
living
wait a
room.
minute. We'll skip. Let's not fast forward too fast. Candy's at the door.
Right.
Candy looks beautiful to you.
Yes.
It's worked out. She comes in.
Right.
She knows what the job is.
Yes.
But you got your cousin with you.
Yes.
And there's only one room.
Correct. Well, there was a little sitting room.
Uh-huh.
so one of us could hang out on the couch, you know.
Right. And I'm guessing you don't have to play rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first because you're paying.
That was, yeah. I mean, that's
baked in.
Yeah, it was baked in. Yeah.
So you go first.
To Joey's credit, he knew that.
Yeah. It's understood.
He wasn't like, what do you mean? No, he got that.
It's like when someone takes you out to dinner and orders an appetizer. You don't really argue with them. Like, oh, I don't like beef carpaccio because they're paying. They're
Right,
paying.
right.
They're taking you to dinner.
Sure.
They're going to get the beef carpaccio.
Sure.
So he waited in the resting area, and you got to business. Now, this is your virginity.
Yeah.
So it's not like a woman losing her virginity where there's other elements sort of baked in there, but
Sure.
you want to get down to it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing. And
Is there a condom involved?
There was, yeah.
And so she just sort of gets down to business.
She just took me by the hand, and just led me through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And was it fast?
very.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a line in the book that the MasterCard swipe took longer than the sex.
And does she go in and summon Joey, or do you go in there?
She stays in there, and then I said, hey, is it, you know, it's cool that I mean, because we told her it's going to be both of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we both like to shed the V. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so she just stayed in the room, and I came out, and I was like, you're up, buddy.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, how was it? I'm like, you're about to find out. So, yeah, and then. Again, he had a similar experience, time-wise.
Fast.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then the whole thing, she's out the door in half an hour.
Probably, 40 minutes, tops. And then at the door, you know, she finally had seen the name on the card.
Oh,
She was
right.
like, oh, my God, Martin Sheen, can I get his autograph? She literally asked me that. And I said, in any other circumstance,
Right.
absolutely. Right now, impossible.
So, did you? Maybe this is, I don't know, inappropriate or something. It doesn't seem like you had a natural or healthy fear of your dad. Because while you were horny, and I get it, this is still a bridge too far for like a lot of 15-year-old dudes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go in there and steal his wallet, get his credit card. If he
Right.
finds out, he's going to kill me. And then there wasn't, you sort of had my dad will roll with this, or he's not going to.
I mean, there was fear of Dad. You know, he very pleasant. You know, 95% of the time growing up, very always led with humor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, still leads with humor. And we'll try to start a conversation before he starts a fight,
Right.
which is cool. You know,
Right.
but maybe it had something to do with, growing up on sets, watching him play roles, always, him in fictional settings, and that maybe he would understand things in the real world that were a little bit kind of outside the realm, that he would just see things a little differently.
Yeah.
And that I was also hoping that he could possibly relate if he was in my shoes at that age and had the same opportunity, would he have done it? Probably not.
Yeah, but it's interesting in that everyone else has one version of their dad because they only see their dad in a non-fictional setting, like as the dad, living room, school teacher, truck driver, whatever. But you would see your dad playing the Vietnam vet, your dad playing the lawyer, your dad playing the cop,
Sure.
the dad playing the old Western gunslinger or whatever, and you go,
Right.
who... My dad, like I don't have a complete bead on who my dad is because
Right,
I've seen him in so many different outfits.
30 people.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's kind of interesting.
It's kind of a trip, right? I watched him one day. It was a shoot here in Malibu, like near Joffrey's, right on PCH.
Restaurant,
yeah,
right.
and he was doing an episode of Ironside,
Mm-hmm.
and Ironside's in the chair
Right, wheelchair.
and pushes him into a swimming pool.
Right.
And then they did it.
Your dad pushes him
no,
into
no,
some-
no. That would have been weird.
Yeah.
No, Dad gets pushed into the pool.
Oh, from
yeah,
Ironside.
from Burr, right? No.
Yeah.
Was it
William Burr? Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr.
Raymond
yeah.
Burr, yeah.
And then they did it like 4 times. And I kind of was, I mean, I knew what they were doing, but I remember thinking, okay, he's got to know he's got to know it's coming by now.
You were like 8 or something?
Yeah, 8, maybe 9. And then just wondering if they were going to do a version where Burr gets pushed in, you know. But yeah, but just things like that sort of exist in like, you know, Polaroids kind of floating through the mist, you know, just little snapshots of time.
Yeah, so your childhood is interesting in that, you know, when you take a 9-year-old kid and you take them to a horror movie, you don't want to take them to a horror movie because they believe there's a part of their brain that believes this is happening. There's another part of their brain that knows they came to a movie theater.
Right.
Like when you're an adult, all of your brain knows you came to a movie theater.
Right.
When you're a kid, 50% of your brain knows you came to a movie theater, and the other part of your brain says Linda Blair's head's spinning around, and I'm freaked out,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So your childhood was sort of seeing your dad in these roles that 50% of you knew was on a set, but the other 50% was watching,
Right.
acting this out.
Sure.
And so your vision, your composite of your dad growing up had to be like a little bit scattered.
A little bit.
More than most folks.
more
Your dad
than-
was just, no, Dad's a school teacher.
Right. Or
You
we
know
come
what I
home
mean?
in the same outfit every night before
Right.
dinner. Yeah.
So your dad found the receipt for the
Yes.
American Express
yeah,
card or
and
the
the MasterCard.
MasterCard.
It took about a week.
And it came in.
Yeah.
The mail.
And I was watching TV in the living room, and I'm just doing a drive-by. He didn't even stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was leaning on my hands, laying on my stomach, and a piece of paper comes in. I can see it, and it lands right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell it's been folded, like came out of an envelope.
Right.
And there's a circle around that dollar amount from the Vegas thing. And there's all these arrows, and it just says, "What is this?" with a question mark.
Yeah.
And then he kept walking.
And it's got the timestamp.
Yeah. And he kept walking all the way back to his office.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like, this is like, that's where we're going to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just back there waiting. And I thought, well, it has to happen. This moment has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is paying the fiddler, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that a long walk, and it was about a 2-hour lecture.
Really?
Yeah, and it was you know, it was well intentioned
By him.
it was really focused on love versus sex.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you were right out with it early.
Oh yeah. I just said,
And
well,
did Joey get tossed under the bus too?
I think yes. I think somehow because he's Alice's, my mom's sister's kid, but somehow the information got back to Joey's house in Ohio, and he was on the receiving end of it, the punishment not really fitting the crime.
So because in a weird way, he is just a wheelman in this caper.
He is.
He's outside smoking.
Right.
He didn't ask for any of this.
None of it.
But,
None of it.
And he's a guy who found a wallet. You're a guy who stole a wallet.
Pretty much.
But you're both
Yeah.
getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I guess your dad or mom probably felt compelled to alert Joey's parents.
I think so.
I gotta say, I don't know if I'm a good parent or bad parent, but I would have never done it.
I would have left Joey
I
out
would
of
have
it.
left Joey completely out of
Yeah.
it. I was like, why
Yeah.
Why harsh Ismail? He was there.
Yeah.
Who amongst us wouldn't have participated
Sure.
in this? He wasn't stealing the wallet.
None of it.
You know, I was just like, what's it gonna hurt for
Right.
Joey to just never have to deal with this?
Right. Yeah. And it was weird because that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of secret that you want to really kind of re-examine with the person you share it with. Right.
Right.
And he left town like as soon as we got back.
Right.
And so I couldn't, phone calls back then.
Yeah.
Long distance.
Yeah, because you wanted to tell some war stories.
Yes.
With Joey.
Yeah.
And he's the only guy on the planet that was there.
Exactly. And compare notes or,
Right.
talk about the uncomfortable stuff or the fun stuff or whatever. And we never had a chance to.
Did
Joey reached out recently.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. And so, he reached out to my mom and asked if he could have number, email. I'm like, all of it. Yeah.
Your mom's not in the doc, right?
She's represented in the doc a little bit. No, isn't she? A couple photos at least.
Maybe a couple photos.
Yeah.
But
She's in the book more than she's in the doc.
did she decline to be in the doc?
She was going to do it with Dad. They were going to do it as a couple. Mm-hmm. And then Dad, Renzi brought a rough cut of the first episode over to my place and screened it for Ramon, for Emilio, myself, Mom, Dad. And Dad watched it and loved it, and told Renzi, he said, "I don't need to sit for an interview. I'm brilliantly represented already. He said to the director, I feel like I'm already in this.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was.
Yeah. He has a steady presence.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I made docs. You can take people that have been dead for 10 years and make them a big part of your doc.
Sure.
Archival this and that. And when you see it, it felt like they were in it.
Yeah,
it's an almost younger, more attractive version of them.
Right.
Right.
He really liked the way he looked in the doc, and he didn't want to disrupt that.
Well, he's an actor.
Exactly. I've said too much. But then Emilio really responded warmly to it as well. He was laughing his ass off and was gonna he made a decision where he didn't want to get in the way of my stories.
Yeah,
Plus he just had one on. He'd just been in a pretty popular one called Bratz.
Oh, right.
And
I saw that.
He's my best friend. He fully supports me, but he didn't want to suddenly that year become doc guy.
Right.
Yeah, I can't blame him.
No, I can't.
Right.
And it didn't. It was unnecessary.
Right.
I would say to have them in the doc.
Okay, good.
So
they'll be happy to hear that you said that.
I don't know how much big a compliment
seriously,
that is, but
yeah.
It was well done. You didn't miss them. There's plenty of archival footage of them. And your dad, like I said, the younger, more camera-ready version of your dad was great. Simply Safe. You ever wonder if your security system is really security? I mean, I just saw a video. An arsonist tries torching a family's house. Simply Safe, it stops the guy cold right then. Pow. Before the flames start, and you can hear the monitoring agent on the phone with dispatch. Total pro, not sleeping on the job. Most systems, well, they wait till someone's already inside, and it's too late by then, right? Simply Safe's different. Their AI-powered cameras catch threats before they cross the line. Real agents confront the intruder, yelling over speakers, sounding sirens, making it clear they're being watched and the police are coming. That's security before the crime, not after the crime. I trust Simply Safe to protect my home and my family. I always have, and everything that matters. It's Simply Safe. Am I right, Dawson?
For free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
There was a part that I forgot about, which is Emilio was supposed to be in Platoon.
Yeah.
As your character, right?
Right.
And then Oliver Stone, and the thing got shelved and pushed back, and then they came back, and then when they came back, they wanted you for it. And then you kind of winked and smiled a little bit when you said, well, a little competition with actors and brothers or whatever. But I don't know. You kind of glossed over it.
I did,
But I didn't really know what that situation was.
Yeah, that's the thing. There really wasn't a situation. And that was because of the time between it getting shelved and then being reignited,
So Oliver Stone came on to your brother, Emilio, just through auditioning, or how was he originally going to play your part?
they had a meeting because he'd had a couple big films come out right in that time frame, and Oliver gave him the script, and Emilio tells a story that he was jogging on the beach with Tom Cruise. I mean, there's an image, right?
Right.
I'm seeing it in slow motion.
Me too.
Yeah, and Tom had read the script also, and they were comparing notes about the script, and neither of them liked it. And they thought there were things in there that were too jarring for an audience, that were too extreme, even though they were, telling the story in those situations, how a lot of that stuff went down.
Right.
But they just, so I don't feel, Emilio at the time didn't feel like he had lost out on this great opportunity because of what he was convinced it was going to become.
Right.
And it's a different movie with him and a different movie with me.
Yeah. All right. Let me give you an example.
But we've never, outside of that, I don't think he and I were ever up for the same roles.
Is what do you liken it to this? Like, let's say he had a girlfriend and then you started dating the girlfriend.
Right.
But he used to tell Tom Cruise that he was thinking about breaking up with her and didn't really think they were going to go the distance anyway.
Right.
But so then it's like, well, if you're saying I'm going to marry her and then you swoop in, that's a little different than, not too wild about Candy, my girlfriend. And then you start dating her. You know what I mean? Like maybe they weren't meant to be.
Interesting.
You can use that metaphor.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
If you need,
I like it a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'll be talking to him probably on the drive home from here. So
I've interviewed him once or twice, and I've found him to be a delight.
He's terrific, isn't he?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting that your dad, and your other brother seem to all be sort of cut out of the same cloth, and then you seem to be cut out of some other kind of cloth.
Other cloth.
Right. That
other
doesn't
cloth.
seem to match their cloth. But I don't know.
Yeah.
From a temperament, they seem like all the same breed of dog, which is sort of lovable lab, and then you got some Dalmatian in you or something.
And a little bit of pit bull maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to account. How do you even account for that?
I don't
Because you
know.
can't go nature or nurture. It's the same place.
It's the same environments. It's the same experiences.
Right.
The same amount of travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? Maybe Dr. Drew can weigh in on that.
As a guy who is a parent of twins who are now 19. I just go, they are who they are.
Right.
They're so different.
Yeah.
People want to go
twins
like,
also.
would you feed them for breakfast? Or you didn't expose them to enough classical music. It's like, they're just who they are.
Right. Yeah.
They're so who they are.
Sure.
And I don't even know. It's almost narcissistic to think I was going to rub my stink on them.
Interesting.
They're just who they are.
Yeah.
And always.
Right.
By the way, from Jump Street, that's
Wow.
who they were.
Yeah.
And I think that is the explanation, even though it's not an explanation.
Right.
It's just Emilio's Emilio and you're you.
I think it's just the one we have to surrender to.
Well, because it is. It's hard to argue with what is.
It just is, yeah.
But growing up in Malibu, and I had a chance to talk to Sean Penn about this a little bit.
Did he come here on the show?
Yeah. And I also have talked to his brother, Chris, over the years before he passed.
Yeah, that sucked, right?
Oh, man.
I know.
It was funny. Because I was talking to Sean, and he said, I liked your brother a lot. And he's like, all right. And I said, yeah, he did Loveline once, and after Loveline in Culver City about midnight, he said, I know a good cop bar nearby. You want to go out and get some drinks? And I was like, well, it's Tuesday, and it's 12:07, but yeah, all right. And we just went to the cop bar. And he was like, oh, that's my brother. He knows a cop bar in Culver City.
That's classic Chris.
Back when Culver City was a ghost town and a little bit dicey and quiet and closed down, he knew a cop bar.
Yeah, and then those cop bars for Chris turned into blues lounges.
Oh, really?
That he'd know the one where like all the legit blues people would hang out at, and he became a singer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, one year at my birthday party, would have been like 89 because I was with Kelly Preston, and he couldn't afford to buy me a gift for some reason, or just forgot, or that was his excuse. And as a birthday gift, he sang me a song.
The guy had a motor, had an energy.
Yeah, he did.
You can talk brothers. I mean, you can talk Sheens. But you can talk Penns.
Yeah, for sure.
Too, because they're all over the road.
Yeah.
In the brother department as well.
Yeah, including Michael, the eldest.
Yeah, the singer.
Yeah, brilliant musician. Yeah,
great albums.
Composer. Yeah,
temperamentally nothing like
zero. Like
Chris Penn and Michael Penn. Are you kidding me?
Like adopted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're getting back into the breed of dogs now. Like just
right.
nothing.
Is Michael the Ramon of the Penns, or is Michael the Charlie of the Penns?
Well, Ramon is your older, calmer brother.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Older, calmer. I like that.
Who doesn't seem that interested in show business or that
he was
life.
He was producing for a while,
but not in front of the camera.
Not in front of the camera. He did brief stints in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
He did a really good job in a film called Cadence that my dad directed. That I was in back in the late '80s. He's in like. Did you ever see The Dead Zone?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you
Christopher
remember
Walken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Cronenberg film. Dad plays Stilson.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Do you remember the photo on the cover of Newsweek or Time that sinks Stilson and makes him blow his brains out? Mm-hmm. Ramon, he was going through his punk rock phase. He's the photographer that takes the shot of Dad trying to shield himself from the assassin with the baby.
Mike?
That's
Ramon.
Really? Yes.
And Michael Penn is the engineer in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, he is.
When they're laying down Marky Mark is laying down his album.
Right. When it's just
There's
awful
crossover there.
Yeah. Now, didn't Michael score Boogie Nights?
Oh, we're going to have to look that one up. He had a great debut album with a bunch of really good hits on it. Really good singer-songwriters. Married to Amy Mann, who's really great as well. And yes, he did score Boogie Nights, as my booth tells me.
Okay, good.
So one of the questions I was writing. So what I was doing is I never do this much prep, but I was always
my trivia, by the way.
I was very interested in talking to you, and I was watching the first part of the doc, rewatching it last night, and I was just making notes to myself, and I wrote down Kelly Preston shot. And you brought up Kelly Preston moments ago. So there was this part in the doc where it's a little nebulous, where it's like, I think John Cryer was like, did he shoot his wife?
Yeah, come on, John. Come on. I mean, John could have just like walked up and asked me one day.
Right.
He had 8 years to get to the bottom of that.
Never asked.
But he was leaning towards what really happened in the doc, right?
First off, she was shot like in the leg or something?
No. I mean, you want to tell you exactly what happened?
Sure, yeah.
I used to carry a little revolver in my back pocket. Mm-hmm. And are you a gun guy?
No. Well, I know I've fired enough, but I know enough. Yeah.
Do you know rim fire versus center fire? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a little North American Arms 22 long. It's a 5-shot revolver. Mm-hmm. And my buddy Dave, his dad used to call it his get off me gun, right?
Right.
So I bought one. And it lived in my back pocket for so long that, like a guy with a can of Skoal, the outline is formed, right? So we came home from Kelly and I in a condo in Malibu.
Were you married?
No, we were engaged.
Oh, engaged.
We were engaged,
Okay.
and so I left my pants on the scale in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Didn't take the gun out of the back pocket. Mm-hmm. Kelly gets up. She gets up, goes to the bathroom. I go downstairs to make coffee. She is sitting on the toilet and sees the scale and decides she wants to weigh herself, right? And lifts my pants off the scale, falls out of the back pocket. And because I was, I didn't know that I did know, but I didn't do it. The hammer sits resting on the edge of the bullet casing, and so that's called a rim fire, right?
It's on the primer.
Yeah. So, it doesn't have a primer.
Oh, it doesn't have a primer.
Yeah, that's its primer is the whole outside.
Oh, the
rim.
whole thing.
Yeah,
right.
and
Sorry.
so it falls out. It hits the linoleum, hit the tile floor, and sends a round through the toilet, but right next to her leg. So she gets hit with porcelain shrapnel at like probably 600 feet per second, right? And then I'm downstairs, and nothing else sounds like a gunshot, especially indoors.
Right.
And I knew exactly what it was. And I come around the corner from the kitchen, and she's coming down the stairs. And so she's on the top of the stairs, holding her wrist, stark naked, with blood coming down her chest from her wrist. And so I was like, holy shit. So I get her, I start trying to apply pressure. I'm trying to, but she's in shock, but not losing consciousness, not fading in and out. So there was nothing about it that felt immediately life-threatening. But I'm on the phone with 911, and the ambulance comes. I ride with her, and she got 4 stitches in her calf and a couple in her wrist.
From the porcelain
From
shrapnel.
the porcelain shrapnel.
Right.
Yes. And then, the press, the media turned that into Charlie Sheen shot Kelly Preston.
Right.
And it was just like, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And it was really, it's ultimately my fault, not being responsible with the weapon and putting it in a drawer or under something, just
Right.
leave it in my pocket. But, very lucky, because if that barrel is, a couple millimeters in a different direction, who knows? Who knows what could have happened? So we were both, and she wasn't even like really mad, and then the only thing in the doc is her at the door of that condo saying it was an accident as she closes the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which played as her trying to protect you.
Interesting.
In the doc. I mean, so the thing about docs is you can, well, you know what, Dawson, there is, because we brought up Mark Garagos, my friend, there's a famous part of the Michael Jackson doc where they have Garagos up there, and they cooked it. So what it was is in the doc, in the body, there's an A and a B, I think, but in the body of the doc, it looks like he gets up there and takes the press conference and is shouting if anybody says anything about I'll take them down or whatever. But he's not saying if any kids come forward. He was referring to a recording device that was hidden in a private jet that him and Michael were on.
Oh.
And so in the doc, they cooked it. They show some guy going, I was 8, but I was scared to come out. And then they cut to Mark Garagos go, if anybody thinks it's all right to talk about this, they're going to have to deal with it. And it's like, he looks like the worst guy in the world, but he's talking about something else.
But it's butted up against.
It's edited that way.
Yeah, of course.
And so.
Intentionally.
Yeah. And within docs, you can do some editorializing and storytelling and a little cooking.
Right. Manipulation. Yeah.
Yeah. Within a doc.
Sure.
You can kind of make it. And that doc, your doc, between John Cryer going, I never did find out, and Kelly Preston going, no press, don't worry about it, and shut the door. You're like, oh, what did he do?
Yeah.
There's an element of he must have done something with that guy.
Ambiguous, yeah.
A little more than ambiguous. Well, also your reputation precedes you.
There was that part.
That Emilio probably could have got away with that one.
Probably.
But we kind of knew who you were.
Probably, yeah.
Or John Cryer could have got away with it.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a little, and again, I didn't walk away going, Charlie shot his fiancée. I went, well, what really happened? But your explanation, and by the way, when you hear really specific, detailed explanations, it's the truth.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when it's weird, like a toilet and porcelain and that kind of scale, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's not the cover story I'm going to build.
You could never construct that.
No, too many things would have to align.
There's a kind of a weird pedestrian thing that I always learn from doing Loveline, because like when some 15-year-old call in and you go, I'm having sex with my best friend's mom. And I'd go, really? And I'd go, oh, yeah. And I'd go, really? And I go, oh, yeah. And I go, you had sex with her? Yeah, 2 nights ago. I go, what was she wearing? And if they go, she was wearing a negligee with stiletto heels, I go, all right, get out of here. Right? But they go, she had a Steelers jersey on. She was a Rocky Bleier fan. Anyway, I'd go, oh, he banged his
For sure.
For sure, he banged
Yeah.
him off because this
Yeah.
is specific.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not helping his story.
Right.
It's just specific.
Right.
The scale and the porcelain in the toilet.
And Blyer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Wolf couldn't have come up with that story.
No. Yeah, and it's interesting. I've told the story over the years, and not like, told it so many times. Now it's committed to memory. No, the story has never changed, not one detail. I left one thing out, and it was the strangest moment when I picked up the phone to get call for help. I looked at the phone, and what felt like 10 seconds was probably less than a second. But for some reason, I didn't know whether to call 911 or 411.
Right.
And really had to struggle past that and then finally hit the right numbers. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Just kind of.
Yeah.
Had a glitch. It's
why if you ever do a game show and they'll go like, name the longtime storied Italian skipper for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you go, and you're like, it's Tommy Lasorda any day of the week, except for when someone's pointing at you, and then there's that weird
ticking clock.
Yeah, there's like that weird human, and the Michael Jordans of the world are the ones who do better with the ticking clock, and everyone else is the people that start sweating with the ticking clock.
Well, it's not part of their day job.
Yeah, the Jordan story was interesting as part of the doc as well, but. Growing up in Malibu, like I said, I got a glimpse into it when I was talking to Sean Penn about old Malibu, and I think I talked to Rob Lowe about old, rural, sort of middle-class Malibu, not David Geffen's sort of elite Malibu, but just regular folk Malibu, which you grow up
working-class Malibu,
And the group, serendipitously around you you had the Penns, right, and then you got your brothers, and then there's the Rob Lowe's somewhere in the mix.
He and his brother Chad, his younger brother,
Chad,
Micah. They moved onto the same street that we lived on, like 4 houses down.
So
But they came in a little bit later.
So who was like the all-star team of people we would know that was in your lexicon growing up in Malibu back then?
It was the Penns.
Right.
It was the Lowe's. Us, I guess. And I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anybody out. People always want to connect Downey Jr. to our crew. But that happened in high school, so way later on. And then his first friend in the group was Ramon. Ramon and Downey were like tight.
Right. From Santa Monica
From Santa Monica High School, yeah.
Which was the only high school around.
Yeah.
So that was a long haul every morning.
And the sophomore year on the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were a bad student.
No, sophomore year I did pretty good. I had like a B average. Made the baseball team. Things were just feeling like I could do this. This wasn't too complicated. And then junior year, Mom bought me a car, and then I realized that I didn't have to. There wasn't a tractor beam connected to the BMW that pulled me only to Samohai.
Right.
The whole city was wide open to explore, and I explored it. And that's when the grades and the baseball and just started to slip.
Yeah, because you had this sort of wanderlust.
Yeah.
Speaking of lust, after you lost your virginity to Candy in Vegas,
right?
How long until your next encounter? And was that with a civilian?
It was with a civilian, yeah. It's a gal named Paula, and who I have a child with. My first,
early on.
Yeah, my oldest daughter, Cassandra. And so, Paula was my girlfriend for my entire senior year. And I don't know if it started towards the end of junior year but and then we... I told her, I said, look, I'm going to pursue the acting thing. My first summer of freedom in freaking 12 years. And I said, so I don't think we're going to make it. I don't think we're going to last. And so then, I would go, did a few movies, was traveling. Things were looking up. And then, I would see her for the physical benefits, mutually. And that's when she got pregnant.
Sean Penn, and I got so many questions. I mean, this is a whole Karate Kid thing that I found interesting. There's basically Sean Penn explaining the doc is funny in that, and it's interesting in that smoking was considered cool, and now it's not considered cool.
Right.
And I always laugh that if you go to an old diner and they see all the old celebrities, you'll see Shirley Temple smoking. Like they literally just hand you a cigarette and go, "We're taking a picture."
Right,
and you go, "I don't smoke." Yeah, but we're taking a picture. So
matter.
we need you to smoke. And so
right.
now we went from everyone who didn't even smoking to celebrities having to crouch behind a dumpster like by the side of the club because they didn't want people to see them smoke.
Because it's being treated like heroin.
Right.
Yeah.
Sean Penn is the only guy left who goes, "Wait a minute. You're okay, let me grab my cigarette before we start shooting."
Right.
He literally just made sure there was a burning cigarette in his hand for every moment he was on camera.
Yeah.
Which most guys would go like, "Give me a 5-minute break." They go out to the porch. They grab a butt, and then they put it out, do a shot of mouthwash, and then sit back down again. All right, let's film.
Yeah.
Not him.
Sean's not most guys.
He's like the white Dave Chappelle when it comes to smoking. Like Dave Chappelle
still
walks on the stage, stops, and then goes, "Where's my cigarettes?"
Yeah.
And literally doesn't even smoke it. He just holds it.
Oh, he doesn't light it?
No, he lights it, but he doesn't take a draw off it.
Interesting.
He's really saying, "I dare someone to come up here and tell me to put this cigarette out.
Find me."
Yeah, like here's what I'm doing.
Right.
It was sort of during it was sort of you in the Tiger Blood era where you're like going, "Say something.
Yeah.
Do it.
Sure.
Speak
Yeah.
up." Lots of questions to go. You okay? You having a good time?
Yeah, no, this is fabulous. Sean years ago went out on Letterman and sat down, and they exchanged their pleasantries, and he just goes into his pocket like he's in his living room,
Right.
Fires one up, and Dave's like, and I don't know if you can find the clip, but Dave's like, you're not supposed to do that in here or something.
Yeah, Dave. Well, Dave was one of the guys. I've done this show a couple of times where you do Leno and they go, "Have fun." Oh, by the way, Leno just was in here telling the story about you saying your limousine they sent for you got T-boned. And
he was just in here?
Yeah. We should cross-check that.
Yeah.
But
no, it's 100% true.
But Letterman is a guy, when you do his show, there's a lot of it's almost like they do if you go to a wild animal park and they go, "Okay, we can put you in with the rhinos, but no eye contact. Don't make any sudden moves. And do not, if you're going to feed them, you put your hand down. You don't hold it."
Right.
Like you get rules with Letterman. Don't touch him. Don't eyeball him. Don't whatever. So lighting a cigarette was probably on that list somewhere.
Yeah. And
that's so funny.
Sean didn't care.
We have the Garagos, by the way, that I was referring to, just so you can see how they can and will cook docs. That's young Mark Garagos. Young, sober Mark.
We will land on you like a ton of bricks. We will land on you like a hammer. If you do anything to besmirch this man's reputation, anything to intrude on his privacy in any way that's actionable, we will unleash a legal torrent like you've never seen.
Michael called.
Right. So he's talking about bugging the airplane, and they're basically cutting it. Like he said, if you're a victim of this guy and you speak up, we'll destroy you.
Wow.
Which makes him sound like the world's worst guy.
Yeah.
Right. But they edit it. That's how they edit it together.
Sure. Yeah. It's a people on both sides moment, isn't it?
Yeah. There's good people.
Right.
All right. We'll take.
Hey, can I hit the bathroom?
Yeah. We'll take a quick break.
Is that okay?
Hit the bathroom. We'll be back with more Charlie Sheen right after this.
Awesome. Thank you.
O'Reilly O'Reilly Auto Parts. Pow. Yeah, catchy tune. You know the jingle. These guys keep your car on the road, so you don't end up by the shoulder looking like a dope. Friendly, helpful service. People who actually know their stuff, not just some kid who'd rather be on his phone or anywhere other than helping you. I use O'Reilly. I get my parts from O'Reilly. I get my stuff. It's not just parts. I mean, I spilled a whole bunch of hydraulic fluid back here several weeks ago, and I needed the stuff to sop it up. O'Reilly has that as well. Thousands of parts and accessories stocked in the store or online. Don't panic when that check engine light comes on. You got O'Reilly. Wiper blades, brake lights out. They'll help you. And they can help you if you're not a DUI type. Find a shop nearby that will take care of the business. So whether you're a gearhead or you don't know a lug nut from a donut, they'll walk you right through it. No attitude, just real help. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
This October, Fear is free on Pluto TV with horror movie collections.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
Avenge me! Avenge me!
If you said Red Dawn,
Avenge me! Avenge me!
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, Red Dawn, which I will never change if that movie comes on cable. I'll never change that. I'll always watch it all the way
Seriously,
through.
wow, that's awesome.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, I've got it.
you.
There's got a few of those in my pantheon of movies. I will never switch. Now, you know, the thing about like Platoon's a great movie, and of course
Thank
it's
you.
a better movie than Red Dawn, but it's a little more of a commitment, like emotionally, and you have to kind of be in the mood to go there, whereas
Right.
Red Dawn is just on, and you can watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a difficult but really exciting shoot.
Yeah.
That was my second job.
That was after Ferris Bueller?
No, that was before.
Oh, it was before? Oh,
Yeah.
that's where the Gray, Jennifer
That's
Grey.
where I met Jennifer. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on Red Dawn. No, I went from Budapest with the first thing with the Grizzly
Two.
Grizzly 2, yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
But Clooney was in that, and
Clooney
so
and
was
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern, so
yeah.
it's good.
It's a trip. And then I had like a month off or a couple weeks off and went right to Las Vegas, New Mexico, the other Las Vegas.
Right.
And we started Red Dawn.
And that's where you struck up a friendship, relationship, what have you, with Jennifer.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
she called you in for Ferris Bueller.
that's what led to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that part, because you're talking about shooting in Hungary, and then there was Karate Kid, and they wanted you as the Karate Kid, but they needed you immediately.
Yes.
And you had committed to a much lesser project,
Grizzly
2.
2. Yeah.
So you had a choice between Grizzly 2 and Karate Kid, the first one.
Essentially, yes.
And
Yeah.
they needed you now.
They needed me like it was. I think the audition was on a Friday. It was one of the final auditions of the summer for just in that first that maiden stretch of mine. Yeah, and they wanted me like on Monday
Right.
to put on a gi.
Right.
And I felt like that was a little rushed. And I was only going to Budapest for like 2 weeks,
Right.
3 max.
Right.
But they were pressing.
Right. So they were like, we need you tomorrow. And then you talked to your dad about it.
Right. I talked to my agent Glennis first, though, and I said, let's try to figure out a way to maneuver out of Budapest and go get into the training.
Right.
And then I didn't feel great about that. I think I was also afraid of just the size of Karate Kid. Because that would have been my first job. And the only experience I'd had was the stuff you see in the doc,
Right.
which doesn't really lend itself to,
So that was pre-Red Dawn or post-Red Dawn?
No, it would have been.
right about.
Yeah, I'm mistaken with the timeline. There would have been, I think there would have been enough time to do Karate Kid and then Red Dawn. I think that's the way that it could have shaped up.
In the doc, you're talking about having to go back to Budapest, and your dad saying, "Look, you gave me your word."
Yeah, he did.
So you got to honor that.
He said that's going to carry you further than one hit movie.
Right.
Of course, neither of us knowing just how big of a hit movie that thing would become. And
Right.
then I didn't work after that for a while. I didn't work after Red Dawn for a long time. And so,
Yeah, but what do you think? So let's talk about stereotypes for a moment.
okay.
It's in the doc. You kind of alluded, not in a mean-spirited way, but, Machio became the Karate Kid, and now he's doing Cobra Kai, and he became the Karate Kid,
Sure.
And
And there was a movie recently, like a month ago, right?
right. But big picture, you think it's great to play Little Buddy on Gilligan's Island, but 10 years later you're at the boat show in Long Beach wearing the outfit. You know what I mean? So you're Little Buddy forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or one of the Brady kids or something. It's a double-edged sword. But
Sure.
on the other hand, Johnny Depp was on 21 Jump Street, but he's not there anymore. Like, there's plenty of stories about guys being on Disney and being on this movie or that movie.
Sure.
Grizzly 2. Clooney landed on his feet. So
Yeah,
did
he did.
Dern.
So
You know
did
what I
Laura,
mean?
yeah.
So is it you being typecast, or is it you not really having the ability to pull out of that? Like, there's a gravity of that. Like, if you're in a schmaltzy sitcom, well, then yeah.
Right.
But if you are a really talented presence and a great actor, they figure out a way to kind of extricate themselves from the typecast.
Right.
And so the typecast almost becomes an excuse. Like the Brady kids were like, oh, we're always looked at as the Brady kids. Yeah, but none of you can act.
there's
So
that-
that's why
there's
that's
that
part
detail.
of it too,
Yeah. Sure. So you're saying that there was a chance that I would have done that and then only done like one sequel?
You were sort of alluding that maybe I dodged a bullet with Karate
A little
Kid
bit,
because
a
I
little
would have
bit, but
become that, but I don't think you would have become that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's what I'm
But I
saying.
also don't want to shit on Ralph's career.
No, he's a really nice
Because,
guy and he's had a
yeah.
really good career.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. And there's not a chance I could have pulled off what he did in Karate Kid.
Yeah, well, all movies are like Tom Selleck is Indiana Jones, but it's it's ruined because you already have your mind
Right.
of what that is.
Right. And you even think about, what's Apocalypse with Harvey Keitel?
Right, who was originally
filmed for a month.
in your dad's role.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's one thing
I mean,
to get,
Harvey's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's one thing, like you think about things like getting pulled in the first inning of a World Series as a pitcher or something like that. But
Right.
getting pulled 2 months into a shoot, there's no way to get around that in the sting department, right?
No, and that might have happened on Karate Kid because I might have just had that one golden moment in that audition where the director was like, that's the guy. And then a week later, he's like, we're not so sure anymore.
I think listen.
You think I would have figured it out?
Well,
I'd have figured it out?
I think because of you being a sort of Swiss Army knife of performing,
Thank you.
that we would say, no, he's done slapstick stuff with Zucker and Abrams. He's done real heavy stuff in Platoon. He's done sitcom stuff. Like, I think the argument would have been made that this would have just been another thing he would have done.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because
Cool.
you've got
I'm gonna roll with that. then.
versatile
Yeah,
ability.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in a weird way, kind of Val Kilmer-y in the sense that he could do real big slapsticky stuff and then real heavy stuff as well.
He worked with the Zaz team, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, Top Secret? No, what the hell's it called?
Yeah, it was Top Secret.
Yeah.
So you, lots of stuff. So Karate Kid, interesting. And also, it's a weird business because there's so many what ifs, whereas other businesses don't have so much of the what if department.
No.
So for you, do you want to be in another sitcom? Do you want to work regularly? Do you want to get back to features? Do you want to create, or do you want to be an author? Like, what is the third chapter?
Third act.
Or act, I
Yeah.
should say. I was looking at your books. The
that's
word
all right.
chapter came flying out. But yeah, what's the third act feel like for you?
All of that. All of that would be awesome if you know, those opportunities remain available and on the table, and you know, of course, with the right material, with the right people. That's the benefit of you know, not having a cluttered mind, trying to make you know, important creative decisions. That you know, I'm not in any rush. But yeah, I would if the right sitcom, you know, I would do that, because it's just, you know, it kind of gnaws at me how that chapter of my career was left. It's this
The 2.5 Men.
Yeah, it's this unfinished vibe with that, and I just it needs a proper bookend.
Yeah.
You know, and there is one that I really like, and it's the only one that I would do. But it's not you know, set up enough to really talk about it, you know. But
does it currently exist?
Yeah, it's been written, and it's a gem.
As a sitcom?
As a sitcom,
For
yeah.
camera or single cam?
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
For a network?
Well, that's what we'd have to decide. Would it be a streamer? Would it be a network? Would it be
working with the people who created what?
It's 2 alums from 2.5.
Oh, okay.
And it's not John Cryer. It's not Chuck Lorre.
Is there any Chuck Lorre relationship now?
Oh yeah.
You're good?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, he asked me to do a cameo in the show we had on HBO called Bookie.
Oh, right. Right. That's right. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
With Sebastian.
Yeah, you were gambling in Malibu. In rehab. Yeah, that's right. It's all coming back here now. That was a funny scene.
He put together the original card game from the pilot of 2.5 Men.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Angus was there.
Right.
Don Foster was there. Eddie Gordatsky, like all the guys that were
Eddie
in
the
that.
writer.
Yeah,
people know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's interesting, and
But also, you know, if you know, something really edgy and cool, you know, like a Bosch,
the TV show.
At some point, I need to be knocking on doors with a badge. I mean, I've never done that.
Right.
I'm such a fan of
Titus Welliver.
Yes,
has been in here a few times.
Yeah.
Very interesting dude.
Good dude.
Good. Interesting.
Yeah, great actor.
I agree. So you figure, I'm guessing the dust has settled on your reputation sufficiently that it's not an impediment to you going out.
I would hope so.
Being on in any production, right?
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, people talk about, well, what if he melts down again? I only got one of those in this lifetime. Well, I mean, that thing was exhausting.
Yeah, I could imagine.
It really left a trail of wreckage that took a long time to police.
Well, also it's kind of an interesting testament to the human spirit or drive or something that you're able to get as much stuff done in that condition, which is
what the hell, man.
Most people couldn't. Most people would just be bedridden
right,
or institutionalized or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to. I mean, it's that thing where it's like, I got shot, but I was able to walk 2 miles to the sheriff's station. It's like what humans can kind of do.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It turned out later I'd severed this artery and broken that bone. It's like, but you walked, you know, like you had a motor and a sort of intestinal fortitude and a kind of a thing that was able to sort of transcend the condition you were in, which is not most people don't have that constitution.
Right.
Most people, there's an extreme where a person just goes, I can't think, I'm not going on, I can't go, over nothing.
Right.
And then there's you who's, got horse tranquilizer in him and is showing up on set putting an ice cube up his ass, trying to wake up.
Right. Yeah, I that ice cube thing is pretty. That's such an interesting story, isn't it?
It was on the set of a movie.
Yeah.
The coke by that point had just been overwhelming.
Yeah. Well,
Smoking.
I
Was it
on,
smoking
I was
at
onto
that
the
point?
I was onto the pipe by then. Yeah, and
Right.
I've just been on too long of a run, but could never do dialogue. Like I couldn't be like, you know, just right off the set hitting the pipe and then come in and do a scene. I couldn't do that. So if I'd had a night on the pipe, it was usually just some booze in the morning, just to kind of just to settle it down, you
Right.
know, and then work on that and getting through the day, knowing that my reward back at the hotel was the pipe, you know.
Right.
Jesus.
But you had a
and
scene to do.
I had a scene to do, and I think I made the mistake of eating.
Mm-hmm.
Because then all the blood is there and not here, and I kind of felt it, but I didn't know it was as obvious that I was falling asleep on camera. And the director pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, I don't know how to tell you." He was just trying to be, you know, he's trying to softball it. And he says, "You're nodding off." And I was like, "Fuck! I vowed to never do that."
Right.
I vowed to who,
Right.
I don't know, but and I was, and I don't know where the idea came from, and I just like went right to solution. I said, I need a cup with ice. And they one landed in front of me magically, and I picked it up and I said, "Where's the bathroom?" And just beelined it, and just said, I have a hunch this is going to work," and just keistered one.
But it wasn't an old acting trick that your coach gave you, or some
I'd heard of Ice
Eastern
Cube.
Indian philosophy or something. Like you must have had that in your
was
head from something.
Something connected to sex stuff that I'd heard people had used ice cubes for some titillation or some enhancement, and I could never figure out how those would go together.
Right.
But it did make sense in that moment that could be enough of a shock to the system to suddenly, you know, and I wasn't looking for hours on it. I just needed 10 minutes.
And it worked.
Yeah, it did.
It's in the
Yeah.
movie. They show the actual scene, not the Ice Cube scene.
Right. So yeah, but no, you talk about that thing. You talk about that drive. The guy that walks 2 miles with the bullet hole.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is it's a virtue if it's wartime. But if it's non-wartime, then you just do a shitload of drugs.
And what are we doing?
And you do much more than other people would do, and the consequences get staved off because you're able to rally the next morning. Whereas someone else, they'd go, "We got to get him help because he cannot function anymore." So in a weird way, I had a dentist look in my mouth once, and he looked at my tooth and he goes, "When you been in the dentist last?" I was like, "I don't know, it's been 3 years." He goes, "You got a high tolerance for pain, don't you?"
Wow.
Which I didn't take as a compliment. It meant my tooth was really fucked up.
Right.
But the point is I am that way too. So I'm like, but all I get is a fucked up tooth over it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because other people would have hurt enough for them to go in and get it taken care of. My tooth gets worse because I don't do anything for 2 years because it doesn't bother me.
Got it.
Like other people would be bothered.
Sure.
And so you get to take your addiction to incredible and new heights, whereas other people would have bottomed out at a lesser and earlier phase.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
And so this kind of weird Viking kind of survivor, you know, Dr. Drew would say the guys that survived the wars were alcoholics, you know what I mean? Like from back in the day. They were just super hardy.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So on one hand, it's kind of great to be hardy. On the other hand, it can just mean you do more damage.
Prolonging the inevitable.
Right.
Yeah. Or staving off.
Right, because I mean, when you have Slash telling you to reel it in,
it's
in the substance department,
saying you go today or you're going to die.
Yeah,
you know, imagine the people he's seen.
Yes,
in those conditions.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So you don't seem to be have adverse effects.
Thank you.
You don't seem to
Thank
have
you.
residual, like a lot of
It doesn't-
people would be like addled. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah, thank you. It doesn't feel.
I mean, you feel the opposite of that. You feel super lucid.
Oh,
and
thank you. No, it doesn't.
articulate.
It doesn't feel. But the way I process that now, and it's not a fucking AA thing. It's just a life thing. Is that you can only thumb your nose at the universe so many times before it just finally gives you the backhand of the gods, and I'm grateful to have gotten through all of that. There's nothing left to prove over there. I think I kind of not that I'm proud of this, but I kind of might have set the bar in some ways, right?
in the abuse department, the substance abuse department.
I mean, for people still alive.
Well, for people still alive.
Yeah,
Right.
And just to be excited again about re-entering a high stakes creative environment with with the tools and the passion that I had for so long, like when it started and when things were cooking, and I was just like right in at the epicenter of that energy, and that's what is exciting today.
Right.
Not like, oh shit, okay, I fooled them again. If I just do this just for this much longer, make a big bag of cash again, I can go back to that.
Well, also you're playing with a bad need the whole time, which is substance,
Right.
Or oftentimes with
Sure.
substance. Now
Sure.
you can get into the game now and be 100%
Absolutely.
fully healthy,
Absolutely.
rehab,
Yeah.
strong.
And that's how I saw it as a kid. That was the fantasy as a child, to do something that the world loved, or that, name and lights, the whole package, right? And that, as a child, there was nothing missing from just that.
Right.
I wasn't adding, insane addiction and, all of the,
Right.
all of that stuff, all the chemical shit,
I was sitting 60 feet from here in the sort of man cave watching football on a Sunday, as I do with the boys and good comedy guys, fun guys, and whatever. And somebody said, "Oh, did you see the Sheen doc?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, it was great." And then someone said, "We're going to order from the other side of the menu." And then someone else started yelling, "I want to know what's on the other side of that menu."
Wow.
Which is a sort of homosexual reference,
Sure.
sexual thing that you were alluding to at the end of the doc. And then I was sort of thinking about it, and I was like, well, he never struck me as bisexual.
Right.
He struck me as a guy who was sort of hypersexual, but for women.
Right.
But there is a hypersexuality that can just sort of go into
Of course.
whatever, which is I like sex so much that I don't even draw a distinction between
Right.
the sexes.
That's kind of what happened.
Is that a
I mean,
description of you?
yeah.
Mixed with drugs, I'm guessing.
Especially the pipe.
Uh-huh.
There's something about the delivery system of cocaine at that intensity. It just really opened stuff up in a way that whatever was going on just suddenly wasn't satisfying, or wasn't unique enough anymore. And,
Yeah.
And the other element is that the girls that I was, keeping company with, sometimes living with, were all, adult actresses.
Mm-hmm.
So they're coming home, coming back to my place with stories of the stuff they just filmed that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, tell me more about that.
Right.
Well, hold on. What was that scene about? And then, then just the more drugs and the more curiosity and just the thing. And then you're like, well, let's, I think it was kind of framed interestingly, like, let's just flip that thing over and
See what's on the
see
other
what's
side.
on the other side.
But you never didn't think of yourself as bisexual.
I didn't. No.
Or gay.
No.
And here's what it sort of strikes for me, or what I think. It's like drugs make you want to sort of up the ante in sort of every department.
Sure.
And inebriation just makes you want to, you know, you don't want one slice of pizza, you want 11 slices of pizza because you're high.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just, everything is more.
Right.
And you're basically topped off in the vagina department at this point. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of room between you and the ceiling of the vagina room.
Pretty much.
Because
Yeah,
you're pretty
yeah,
much
right.
there. And so
The ceiling of the vagina room.
you're already mashing your head up against the ceiling of the vagina room. And so where are we going from here?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that would
that's kind
sort of explain
I
that
think that's,
period?
That's a really good way to frame it. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
is that where we assume the HIV came from, or was it from the adult actress side, or do we even know?
I don't specifically know, but that would be my best guess. And in fact, in the book, with the chronology of talking about a lot of that stuff, and then contracting, and then the thing with Matt Lauer, it's in the order that it's in for a reason. Because if it wasn't there, I you know, there's no blood transfusion I can fucking blame it on. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, had to be somewhere in that, the experimental sort of, you know, that part of it.